Wonder Woman is about to hit the big screen here in less than a week, and I am super excited about it. So, me not knowing too much about Wonder Woman and having never seen the animated 2009 movie, I went back, watched it, and there's a lot of awesome stuff to dig into in this movie. Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my theological analysis of the 2009 animated Wonder Woman movie. If you have not seen this movie, first off, spoilers ahead. But if you have not seen this movie, see this movie. It was really good. If you like these DC animated movies or just these animated superhero movies in general, this is one of the good ones. I really enjoyed it. I knew nothing about Wonder Woman going in, so it was really great. Well, I mean, I knew what I knew from Batman vs. Superman, but I mean, to really learn who Wonder Woman is, I thought this was a great introduction to her character, to Steve Trevor, to this entire world that they have. So I thought it was a really good movie. That said, there is so much great stuff to dig deep into this movie, so let's just start analyzing this stuff. What is fascinating to me is how it seems the whole premise of this movie is all these main characters are operating from a wound. So you got Hippolyta, who is leading the Amazonians, and they all have this massive wound because, first off, she's Hippolyta. It's Greek mythology, so we already know. In that sense, there's all kinds of messed up stuff going on between the gods and the goddesses, and she's just been a part of that drama. Ares is the villain of this, and he gets his powers from, like, that place of hatred and discord and mankind. That's literally what feeds him and gives him his power. So this movie opens with this massive war of the Amazonians versus Ares. Hippolyta has been with Ares and has had a child with Ares, and that child is going up against the Amazonians, so she has to kill her own child. She goes to kill Ares, and Zeus is like, "Woman, do not do such a thing, for that is my son." Hera, Zeus's wife, is like, "Well, he is bad. He can't go unpunished. We're gonna put cuffs on him so he can't get powers from, people's discord and things like that. And you can just lock him away and he'll be powerless to escape. And by the way, I'll go ahead and create this little paradise island for you. You and the Amazonians can all go there, live in peace, and get away from the world of man. Like, literally, getting away from all males. So we see here at the beginning of this movie, with this massive war scene, Hippolyta's got this huge wound in her heart. Number one, because of all the drama between, gods and goddesses and all that Greek mythology stuff. Number two, she had to destroy her own son in that scene and then take out the father of her son, but she couldn't kill him. I mean, so much junk going on there. But, she always wanted a child, so Zeus granted her, Diana, who grows up to be Wonder Woman. So a millennia passes, and here's what we find. We find that on this paradise island, there is this root of bitterness that is deep within, but it's starting to surface. So we get to modern day here, like literally like 2009. We get to modern day. All these Amazonians are looking at the outside world through the lens of unforgiveness, through the lens of anger, through the lens of this wound that we gather from the opening battle and other drama that we hadn't seen that started and kicked off this movie. They're looking at the world of man, again, literally males. They're looking at all of that through hurt and through a wound, and there's a lot of bitterness and unforgiveness. But now we're starting to see a lot of different things rise up. You have Hippolyta herself when she sees the dog fight between Steve Trevor and these bandits flying above the island and things like that, that she reveals the island's location to Steve Trevor so he could crash land or safely crash land his jet on their island. In other words, you see in her a kind of longing to connect to the world, but she's still bitter, she's still hurt, but there's a desire there to have a connection that they really don't have because they're all cut off on this island. And then you have like Persephone. She has like this love for Ares because Ares through his cell begins to woo her, and she has this desire not just to be a warrior. She wants to be a warrior. She wants to be strong, fierce, independent. She wants to be that, but she also wanted to be a mother. She wanted children, which is something this island can't have because they've totally cut themselves off from the world of men. And so that's part of who she is. It's a part of what she desires. It's part of the more that she wants, and it's beginning to surface, which leads to her betraying the Amazonians and breaking Ares out and releasing him back into the world. So, you you have that beginning to surface, and you have Diana with her own desires to want to be an ambassador between their island and the world of men. The problem is, when she gets that moment to be that ambassador, does she see things that are wrong? Yes. Does she see men treating women wrong? Yes. Objectively, she sees that, and it's horrible.
But there is something I want from you. An apology for contributing to my present disillusionment with men in general.
Can you believe this crazy chick?
And for her, it's not a place where she was wounded. That's how she was raised. It's the lens she was taught to see things through. So now she's going into the world and she's seeing things through this lens, to the point that she and Steve Trevor had an opportunity to stop Ares from getting through the gates of Hades and getting his cuffs removed, so, and getting his powers back. They had the opportunity to stop it. They didn't, because Steve and Wonder Woman, they were not in union with each other. They were not on the same page. They were divided. Like, he's trying to rescue her like a damsel in distress, and she was like, how could you put me over the greater good? I am prepared to die for this. Can't you just trust that? You had the opportunity to stop him. They had this place of discord and division, because she kept seeing the worst in Steve, because that's how she's trained. She kept seeing the worst in the world of man, because that's what she was trained to look for. So it was all she really knew to find. But then you have Steve Trevor, who himself was not being a good ambassador. He was hitting on Wonder Woman every single chance that he got, and it was every cliche thing in the book.
I guess it's not surprising. Women always go for the bad boy. If the god of dependability was trying to get with her, she'd be like, you're really sweet, but I just think of you as a friend. God of War hates on her, it's all, ooh, you're cute.
Every insulting, demeaning thing you could fathom, Steve Trevor was throwing at her. And there was one hilarious scene where he didn't realize his foot was standing in the lasso of truth, and she's like, why are you like this? He's like, well, it's not that I'm really like this. I was in a serious relationship once, and I got really hurt, and I'm really scared of getting hurt again. And so because I'm scared of getting hurt again, I just raise up all this bravado, and I'm afraid of letting someone get close. So through that hilarious moment where he didn't know his foot was in the lasso of truth, we learn that even Steve Trevor is operating from a place of hurt and bitterness and woundedness. So he wasn't showing Diana the best of man that he could be showing by a long shot, because he's operating from woundedness. You have the Amazonians, who aren't even giving her an accurate picture of the world outside, because they don't know, because from a place of woundedness, they are not even coming into the world to establish any kind of connection. And then you have Ares, and the fascinating thing about Ares in this is where his powers come from. And I'm going to read it because it's even cooler. Ares gains his powers and rules through that natural state of distrust, fear, and discord and hate that is in the heart of man. Did you catch that? Just that natural state that's already there. Ares gets his power through that. So every place our main characters are operating from, that place of bitterness, that place of unforgiveness, that place of discord, that is the stuff that gives Ares power. They're all operating from a position of giving Ares power. So what has to happen? How do they defeat Ares? They have to change where they're operating from. They have to learn to forgive. It took Diana learning to be like, I get it. Steve is wounded, and people can act like this through that place of a wound. And not all people are this way. And so she begins, or not all men are this way. And so she begins to learn and accept these things. It begins to release her. As Steve Trevor begins to let go and forgive his bad relationship and let go of his bitterness, he finds in him the ability to be like, you know what, she is a strong warrior, and I'm gonna let her fight Ares. I'm gonna go stop that nuke that's heading towards the Amazonians island and save them. So they had a united front. And then you have this amazing scene between Artemis and Alexa, where in the opening battle scene, Alexa is a bookworm, and on the field of battle she was very cowardly, and so Persephone got hurt, and Artemis has never been able to let it go and has had this grudge against Alexa ever since. So you get to this point on the battlefield here where Alexa has this incantation that releases the zombies that Ares had risen up from the grave to fight because of these books she's read, and Artemis began to realize the strengths of Alexa, and looking at her strengths and not her weaknesses, was able to forgive her, was able to let go of that root of bitterness, and now she begins to operate from a place of strength. So it seems that as they're trying to fight Ares, he gets his power from that natural state of hate and discord. But everybody in this movie began at the beginning operating from that place of unforgiveness and discord. The only thing that brought their resolution and their ability to defeat Ares was gaining strength from operating from a different place of power and forgiveness and letting go of that bitterness. And I think that stands out to us and rings true to us. And stories like that are stories that we love and thrive on because we know the truth of it. I mean, number one, it's amazing what Jesus said. If you have faith, you could speak to this mountain and it's going to be removed and cast into the sea. Do not doubt in your heart, but have faith. So you have this amazing thing of power. But then he follows that up with this. But if you have anything against anyone, forgive them so that your Father in heaven will forgive your sins. So the moment that we are hanging on to bitterness, it really is like a prison. Unforgiveness is a prison. It's a poison we drink to ourselves. And so as long as we're hanging on to those prison bars, our hands are not open to receive real power. Our hands are not open to receive, the real gift. So as long as we're hanging on to that bitterness, we're stuck in that cell. But that's what Jesus said. Jesus is talking about faith and that power to move mountains. But if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, that your Father in heaven will forgive your trespasses. Bitterness gives power to the devil, to the enemy of our souls. And it's us drinking a poison to ourselves. Real strength comes with forgiveness. Real power flows when we're able to let go of that bitterness and forgive the way that God has forgiven us. If you saw Wonder Woman 2009, what are your thoughts on this movie? Did you really like this animated movie? I would love to hear from you and your thoughts on this movie. Let me know in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button. Next to that subscribe button is that bell. When you click that bell, you'll be notified the moment I drop new videos like my Wonder Woman review, which is coming here really soon. I'm super excited to watch that movie and review it and talk about it. I can't wait. And if you haven't seen this Wonder Woman 2009 movie, you can either rent it or buy it digitally on Amazon or the Blu-ray. I have the link to that in my description. It's through my Amazon Associates link. So if you want to go ahead and check out this movie anyway, you can do that and support Durbania while you do that. So I would really appreciate it if you would like to check that out through that link. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.